the first meeting you had with Hunter Biden is so telling and so interesting. You were explain it to me, because I read, like, you're talking about the Swedish embassy, but he had offices in there, and you were there for a party. Yeah. What was happening at the Swedish embassy? And talk about how the first word you heard out of his mouth and how you crossed the door and what you saw.
A lot was happening at the Swedish embassy, but meeting him, coming across the door and meeting him, and he was in a dark place, and he was in a dark room at that time, doing things that he's been very candid about doing back in those days. And you wouldn't think that somebody who was doing those things would act the way that he did, but he jumped up. He was very genuine, very charming, very intelligent. He was able to have a conversation and make you laugh, and real easy to get along with. Not what you would think.
Mm-hmm. And you write in the book, it's pretty extraordinary that you hear on the other side of the doorway the F word. So you go in, you push the door open, wondering what's happening there, and you see a man sitting in an office chair, leaning over a small desk, meticulously organizing a series of small glass tubes and copper strands. He looks determined. He isn't wearing after-party clothes like everyone else. Instead, he's sitting there in brightly colored boxer briefs with parrots all over them. I'm intrigued. He turns in his chair and catches me in his stare, his gaze intense with furrowed brows and the most beautiful blue-gray eyes I've ever seen. What an amazing thing, Lunden, to think that man who you met in that moment would become the father of little Navy, your only child. Only child, at least soon at that point.
Right.
So when you look back at that moment, what made you stay and continue talking to this man when you met him in his boxers with drug paraphernalia everywhere?
Well, it's like I said, I was intrigued. This guy, you could tell, and I speak throughout the book about this empathy that I have, for people and people who are suffering. And Hunter was battling a demon at that time with addiction, but he wasn't just, your average Joe. Like he was so smart and so intelligent and easy to talk to. And he has a way of making you feel like you matter, and he cares. And it could be just in a few minutes, it could be you just met this person and he comes across as so genuine and so sincere, and you wouldn't believe that, he was doing the things that he was doing, and he was battling that addiction because there was so much good and so much great potential that came with him.
Mm-hmm. He was older than you by some 20 years. I think he has a daughter from when he was younger, who's only a couple of years younger than you, right? Or is she younger than you or older than you? But you're within a couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know her exact age. I'm older by some years, I think.
Okay, yeah. So, it's pretty tight. So 2.5 years
something
older
like
or
that.
younger? I don't know. It's something. Anyway, my team's trying to give me the information. Anyway, so you throw caution to the wind, I think it could be fair to say, and you wound up, it was not a one-night stand. Is that correct? Because I think that's one of the misconceptions about this relationship that he has helped feed.
True. And you'll learn in the book, it was an on and off again thing, and it lasted, over a year.
And so when you were with him, because it's actually kind of interesting, you were with him at the same period of time that he's now being cross-examined over. Not he personally, because he hasn't taken the stand, but that is at issue in his criminal case. And you're very open in the book about how you did observe, I think it's fair to say, rampant drug use by him, and talk openly about just how bad it got. Can you give us an idea of what you saw?
There's actually a chapter in the book that I reflected on a night that it got pretty dark, and it got pretty bad, and I worried for Hunter's life. And I speak about that. I'm very candid about it in the book. And even his addiction was so bad. I think I even say in the book that I wonder if Hunter remembers that night. I wonder if he even knows what exactly he went through.
Mm-hmm. What was the drug? I know there's been a couple different ones with him.
The drug that he was using was crack cocaine.
Mm-hmm. You write in the book, first of all, you talk about how, you saw him even on the Amtrak going to the urinal every 15 minutes, which is a sign. I mean, I know that just from my time living in New York, that especially guys, but it could be girls too, who are going to the bathroom every 15 minutes. They're not going there to use the facilities in the way the rest of us do. But you write about watching him suffering after, taking a lot of drugs, and saying it's bitterly painful knowing that someone I care so much about, someone with so much potential and generosity and brilliance, is struggling with this demon of addiction. I cry, wondering if he's even struggling at all anymore, or if he's just given up and let the demon take everything. The endless night finally gives way to dawn. Hunter stirs, and it looks like the demon has lost this round. But then he opens his mouth. Get me my backpack. I need my Coke. No good morning, no what happened last night. The first words from his mouth show the demon didn't lose. He actually won. He took Hunter to the brink of death and then let him return to us just to torture him all over again. I mean, this sounds like it was just about as bad as it could get. And you had to be thinking at the time, like, what do I do, right? Like, what were you thinking about how you fit into this picture?
Right. And I think that so many people, I believe Hunter or someone has said before that, everyone knows somebody that has suffered from addiction. And I believe that everybody in some way has been affected by it. And this is kind of one of those moments where you can resonate with people who have cared about someone who was battling an addiction. And, there's people out there today that battle with people who are battling with addiction. And they suffered that silent cry so much because it's you feel helpless. There's nothing, that you can do in that moment. And it's like, Hunter has been very candid about his addiction. And, during the time of it, he was very candid and would own it. That was his addiction. It was no one else's. And, no one was to blame for it. And, that was something that he took full responsibility for. And so there was nothing you can do. And it hurts. It's sad.
It's got to be scary. There's an extraordinary passage in the book where you talk about how he warned you what was coming your way. He warned you. It's a pretty extraordinary thing. You write about how you're in the shower and you write, I'm trying to keep shampoo suds from my eyes when there's a little pause and I hear him say, honey, you've got a real problem. What? I managed to ask with that vague feeling he's about to say something he'd rather not, but he knows he has to anyway. You're in love with me. Love? I hadn't even considered it, you think to yourself. But now here in the shower, he's claiming I'm in love with him. There's barely a pause before he finishes. I'm going to hurt you. I hurt everyone who loves me. Wow. Now, many women would have run out the door at this point, Lunden. So why didn't you?
I think in that moment, he was right. And I had, I talk about throughout the book, I wasn't really resonating with my feelings and my emotions like most people do. I wasn't attached to them, and so it's like I would just go with the flow with things, and that was always my norm. And then you're hit with you're in love with me, and it's like I'm watching you battle addiction, and I'm watching I'm caring about you and things like that, and I stuck around for that because I think he was right. When you do love somebody and you care about somebody, no matter what they go through, you stick with them through it.
Do you owe back taxes? Pandemic relief is now over. Along with hiring thousands of new agents and field officers, the IRS has kicked off 2024 by sending over 5 million pay-up letters to those who have unfiled tax returns or balances owed. Don't waive your rights and speak with them on your own. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax relief firm, has saved over $1 billion in back taxes for their clients, and they can help you secure the best deal possible. Whether you owe 10 grand or 10 million, they can help you. Whether it's business or personal taxes, even if you have the means to pay, or if you're on a fixed income, they can help finally resolve your tax burdens once and for all. Call 1-800-245-6000 for a private free consultation or visit tnusa.com/Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.